Hey, what's up, everybody? So Spencer here. I'm going to give you a little update on kind of what my fitness journey has been like the last quarter or so, last few months. So I guess some background. Let's kind of set the stage for what my goals for 2024 are, have been, what these have been looking like. So I come from a kind of a fairly competitive background, right? I was trying to be competitive in high school, trying to be competitive, competing collegiately, post-collegiately, and I've always like just competition has been what's driven me within the running world, and that the search for a certain time, right? A certain standard, a certain place. There was always like a conference championship or a national championship or a state event or something that we were trying to strive towards. And I always had these goal times that we were trying to reach every year. And that's kind of what drove my running and my kind of quote unquote fulfillment, what I thought was fulfillment in the sport. And obviously, as we all know, there's rocky roads along the way, right? Like there's ups and downs, there's injuries, there's sickness. There's times when you're almost holding yourself back psychologically and mentally. And I went through a lot of those. So there was a long stretch where things were kind of up and down. Then I kind of climbed myself back up to what I thought was the peak and hung out there for a little while. And then things came down, and I really struggled in this time between like uh, post collegiate running and where I've been over the past few years, having kids and family and stuff, and like priorities change, right? So I'm not one right now who's like, okay, I need to hit this goal of this time or this race, or it's a failure. And I struggle to find like an identity in running. Um, I took some time like kind of away from my like personal running goals, invested a lot of it into like your running goals. Athletes I'm working with from coaching or clients or high school coaching athletes that I work with. And I would totally change my perspective from like I care about my athletics to no, I care about your athletics and your journey. And then I started to miss it. I really, really missed it. So it was one of those where this past, like over the winter time, got into a lot more running just because I loved the feeling of just getting out there on the roads, or I've been running the treadmill a lot, and just the journey and the self-reflection that I have. It was my time kind of away from my kids or family, or like away from life stress and everything. So it was a way for me to kind of escape, which was needed at that time. And then I got to the point of like, well, I'm in this. Like, what am I going to do now? Like, what's my goal? And I decided to set the goal for 2024 of just doing more hard things, right? That's all I'm striving to do is just do more hard things. Because and you may be able to relate to this, right? Like we get in this mindset as we're competing of I'm going to have this peak race there and I'm training for this race. But I want to be ready for it, right? Like I always have to be ready for the event or whatever I'm going to go do. And now as a coach, I tell people all the time, like you're never going to be ready, right? We're going to prepare a certain way, physically and mentally, but you're never going to be ready to go do what you think you're going to go do. It's all just a stepping stone and journey along the way. So instead of saying, okay, I want to run this race and that race and do this other thing and hit this qualifier or whatever, I just said, I just want to do hard things. So my goal this year is just to once a month do something that's hard and intentionally just go out and do something that's hard. So I've kind of set up some things throughout the month. And I knew going into it that sometimes I might fail, and that's okay. So the first month, I hadn't run 2 hours in a long time. So I said, hey, I'm going to do 2 hours on the treadmill. Because one, 2 hours is hard. Two, running it on the treadmill is going to be hard. And I got like 90 minutes in and basically said, like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I want to be done. And I stopped. And I failed, right? And I failed. And that's okay. And I was okay with it. I told myself, like, ask the question every time, was that hard? And it was. So like I checked the box. I did something that was challenging and hard. In February, I my treadmill goes 5 minute mile pace, 12 miles an hour. So I said, I'm just gonna go on my treadmill, move it as fast as it can go, and run on it as long as possible. So like I don't know how fit I am. I don't know how accurate the treadmill is, but I can say I'm gonna set it to the fastest speed that it has, and I'm gonna run as long as I can, and that's gonna be hard. And I did it. I ran about 2,000 meters, right? So 1.25 miles at that 5 minute pace, and I felt really, really good about it. Um, After I did that, I said like, okay, maybe I'm gonna set a goal for I want to do this again next month because this one was a fun one, and I didn't just want to do it next month. I wanted to have follow like a different like a training protocol, quote unquote, for 4 weeks and say, okay, every week for 4 weeks, I'm going to do one threshold workout where I'm doing like for me like 3 times a mile at like a threshold effort with a short rest. And then I'm going to do 1 day of sprints because having that structure is hard, can be hard sometimes. Doing those sprints were something that I haven't done in a while. My body hasn't moved that fast. So it was challenging to like from a coordination perspective. They're short sprints. It's something I work with high school athletes. Some of my coaching clients have gone through these max velocity sprints, and maybe this is something we talk about a different day. But I went through that for a month. So I did threshold and max velocity work. Um, and my max velocity times were getting better and better each week. And I was running times that were like comparable with some of my high school athletes. And I was feeling good about it because I was seeing progression, right? Seeing progression is always beneficial and helpful. And then I went out and did in March, I did another one of those where I just set my treadmill as fast as I could go and went as long as I could. And I made it 2 miles. Whether it's accurate distance wise, whatever time was, I don't care. It was progression. It was something hard. I checked the box. This month I'm probably gonna run a 5K and just run as hard as I can for 5K. In May, my plan is to walk on the track. I want to see how many miles I can walk carrying um, two 25-pound kettlebells. So I'm just gonna carry 50 pounds in my hands and then just walk on the track and see how far I'm willing to go. Hopefully I can make it. I don't know how fast I'm gonna be able to walk. If I walk like 20-minute mile pace, it's gonna be pretty good. If I can go for a couple hours, that would be great. I'm sure I'm gonna get bored out of my mind, so I might actually let myself like listen to a podcast or some music or something. But I think that's gonna be something that's hard, right? That'll be challenging. And then in June, I'm doing a 10-hour night race with some friends, some coaches at Fort Atkinson High School, where we're going to start at 8 p.m., run till 6 a.m. So all over the evening, darkness, and just run and move as much as we can over that time. I don't have any goals for like distances or anything. My goal is just to move for 10 hours and just see, like, experience it, see how far we can go. I don't really care if we are like crushing running times or splits or whatever. Like, let's just keep moving. Doing it in the evening, doing it for 10 hours over trail. It's gonna be a challenging course. It's gonna be hard enough. So that's kind of like my first 6 months of the year. Like those are my like hard things every month. I have signed up for the Twin Cities Marathon in October. And I'm gonna try to run that one like fast. Like I'm gonna go out there and it's not just like to try to finish, let's just see what we can do. Knowing that some of the stuff that I'm doing from a quote unquote do hard things doesn't align well with the highest performance I could at Twin Cities. But I'm telling myself and realizing that the process and the journey of doing hard things makes me more resilient. It makes me better at my job, better at being a husband, better at being a father than kind of over analyzing and critiquing training specifically to run super fast at Twin Cities. I'm going to do the best I can at Twin Cities. I'm going to run well. I'm going to run hard. But the things that I get, those experiences that I get once a month from, hey, today's the day I'm going to go out and just do something hard because it's good to do something hard, right? And as human beings, we can do hard things. And the resiliency that it builds is, I think, significantly more important than running 5 minutes faster in the marathon. So yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at so far. That's my plan for the first like 6 months of 2024. If anything changes, I'll let you know. I'll probably post some like live stuff from the nighttime race in June, which will be super fun. And then as we get going, I'll keep you updated on new kind of challenges or events or things that I'm doing, different runs that I wanna do, and we'll kind of go for there. So hopefully everybody's doing well. Keep crushing your goals, and we'll talk soon.